All right, let's jump right in. Brainwashing for success. I know, it sounds a little intense, right? But stick with me, because the idea behind it is actually super powerful. What if you could learn to reprogram your own mind, to turn that nagging inner critic, your biggest obstacle, into your absolute greatest strength? Let's figure out how. We have to start with this quote from motivational speaker Rob Dial because it just hits so hard. That feeling of safety, of being comfortable, of not wanting to rock the boat, that's it. That's the exact place where the life you really, really want just goes to that. But here's the big twist, the core of what we're talking about today. You know that little voice in your head, the one that's always whispering, nah, don't do that, or you're not good enough, or just play it safe? Well, what if that voice isn't the enemy? What if it's actually a roadmap, pointing you exactly where you need to go? To get there, we've got to first understand where that voice even comes from. We need to dig into the why behind all that fear before we can even think about conquering it. So Rob Dial has this amazing analogy that really clears things up. Picture our ancestors, like a million years ago. For them, a cave, that was everything. One way in, one way out. It meant you were safe, you survived. Fast forward to today, in our mental comfort zone, it's become that exact same cave. It feels safe, it feels protected, but here's the kicker. There are no saber-toothed tigers out there anymore. The only thing it's really protecting us from is our own growth. And the bouncer at the door of this mental cave, it's a tiny little part of your brain called the amygdala. Now, its job is super simple. Keep you alive. That's it. But the problem is, its software hasn't been updated in a few million years. It literally cannot tell the difference between a real physical threat, like a lion, and the threat of making a sales call. To your amygdala, anything new or uncomfortable, it's just plain dangerous. End of story. So if our biology is basically hardwired for fear, what are we supposed to do? How do we fight back? Well, according to the ancient Stoics, an idea brought back to life by author Ryan Holiday, you don't fight it at all. You use it. You totally flip the script on what an obstacle even is. And this is where it gets super practical. Let's break it down. Okay, so a customer rejects you. Your first reaction? You feel crushed, right? That I failed feeling sinks in. But the Stoic approach flips that into a question. What was missing from my approach? Or a project gets delayed. Instead of panic, the thought becomes, okay, the direction we're headed in is what matters, not the original plan. It turns every problem from an emotional dead end into a learning opportunity. And this all boils down to one of the most powerful ideas from Stoicism. The thing you're trying to get around, that thing you think is stopping you, no. That is the way forward. You have to go through it. The challenge literally becomes a path. Okay, so this new mindset is awesome, right? But it's totally useless if you don't actually do something with it. This isn't just about thinking differently, it's about acting differently. Period. And this leads us right back to Rob Dial's super simple but kind of radical rule. Whatever that nagging voice of fear tells you not to do, you must do. No debating, no negotiating. The voice says, sleep in. Nope, you get up. It says, skip the workout. You go work out. You have to start seeing that voice not as an order, but as a compass needle pointing you exactly where you need to go for growth. And the reason this works is simple. You can't think your way out of fear. You can't just talk yourself out of it. The only way to make that fear smaller is to walk straight into it with action. You got to prove to that ancient part of your brain that there's no real danger here. Here's where things get really, really cool. When you start taking these actions, you're not just building good habits. You are physically, literally changing the wiring of your own brain. This is all thanks to something called neuroplasticity. Basically, it means your brain isn't carved in stone. It's not fixed hardware. It's more like software that you can update. And your actions, they're the new lines of code. And Rob Dial has the perfect analogy for this. He says, your comfort zone isn't like a rubber band that just snaps back into place. No, think of it more like a plastic bag. Every single time you push past that fear, you stretch that bag, and it stays stretched. It creates a new, bigger normal for you. So let's connect all the dots. This is the actual feedback loop that creates real change. It all starts with that one new action. That action, believe it or not, builds new pathways in your brain. That's neuroplasticity at work. Those new pathways allow for new thoughts like, hey, I can actually do this. Those new thoughts lead to new feelings, confidence instead of fear. And guess what? That confidence makes the next action even easier. It's a cycle that just keeps building on itself, creating completely new results in your life. So I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you feel that resistance, that challenge, that little voice telling you to back down, just ask yourself this. What if this isn't a wall? What if it's just a map? A map that your eyes just aren't used to reading yet. A map pointing you exactly where you need to go next.